walking against the ocean.
And like live, that's. I'd go down to the beach. I'd rent some bleachers.
Yeah. Beach
I'm in.
bleachers.
I am deeply invested.
Bleachers. How do we spell bleachers? Is that with an EA or two E's?
I think it's still an EA.
Good to know.
It is not just those who use bleach.
Right.
You guys, I got the tiniest fan today.
The smallest fan.
Oh my god!
Aww.
Perfect.
Isn't it so cute?
Is that like a USB fan?
When you turn it on, does it go, or does it say, go, Whitney, go, Whitney, go,
I
Whitney?
wish it was just like a little sign.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna look like Beyonce on all my conference calls.
Mm-hmm. They call that the tiny Beyonce fan.
I'm excited because our roommate is moving out, and this will soon be my office, and Greg is moving to the other room for his office, and I will have an air conditioner because where I'm currently set up is not a good way to have an air conditioner in the space, and it's gonna be so great.
That's
so
amazing.
That's awesome.
So excited.
That's a big change.
That's
When I put an AC in, I shut the window and then worry about if it will fall out for the next few months. Is that everyone else's approach
We
as
gotta
well?
duct tape it in.
I do duct tape.
very. That's what's fun when like you buy something and it's supposed to do one thing and it's terrible at it, but it's good at something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like bad at keeping a room cold, really good at infecting my lungs with a disease.
It is 80-something degrees in Boston today.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yes, indeed. Hey, I think we're live.
We
How about
are.
that?
Hi, Internet. Welcome to Knights of Prospect, an improvised role-playing adventure. We are doing this all made up. Even our wonderful game master will be improvising with us. We are all comedic improvisers from Improv Boston, and just good friends who like to play this game because it's really fun, and we've been doing it for almost a year now.
That's so long!
It's
That's
so
a lot of
long.
years.
Episode
Yeah.
49. This is episode 49.
That's
nuts.
approximately 5,000 hours of episodes.
Your math checks out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is going to be about an hour long. These are not each 100 hours long. I'm Whitney. I play Hazel Pippet. She is your friendly neighborhood halfling mountain druid who's just figuring out the world. She's kind of country, and she's figuring stuff out for the first time, and it's great. And she's figuring out her romantic inclinations, and it's lovely. Yeah, I like exploring.
That's so lovely. Hi, everybody. I'm Sam Hoare. I play Chauncey, who used to be a wizard, but now is an emissary of an angel of war, as we can all relate to. Chauncey gets into some trouble with magic. I'd like to have a bunch of fun.
I am also Sam. I am Sam L. And I play Winnie, who is an elven bard. She loves the natural world, loves like healing and breaking hearts through song, and is currently on a journey to kind of find where she wants to land, where her place is in the world.
That's nice. My name is not Sam. It's Samit. Close. So
Pretty
close. Samit, yes.
Yeah.
I play Raz. I play Priest. Raspberry Snowberry. And the last few episodes ago, I found out where my parents are. My real parents. They're guarding our world from fairies and monsters and beings who live in a separate plane. So that was neat. And I started trying to figure my way out too. I'm feeling a little disconnected from God recently, from Interesh, and I'm a little jealous of Chauncey's just suddenly being best buddies with an angel. Little jelly. And that's
Because
why-
I'm so charismatic.
You are.
Raspberry jelly.
Oh,
How
if
sweet.
anyone's in the mood for a good cry, then that the couple episodes ago would be a good one. Let me look that. It's episode which one?
40,
I think
Five.
40. Okay,
47?
47. I want to say.
Now I have to look. Episode 46.
Exactly.
We are getting a note from the chat coming in a little staticky, so let's give it a couple of seconds for Marissa, our tech, who everyone in the chat say hello, Marissa, to try. Oh, good. I think so. Excellent. The chat is telling us that
Wow.
everything is better.
Yay.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Way to
That's
go,
how
Marissa.
good Marissa
That's-
is. Amazing.
As soon as we say it, Marissa's like, it is already done. So I am John. I'm the game master. What that means is I play all of the characters not played by the 4 other improvisers on screen. So that's one of my jobs, is to play everybody else and give everyone people to talk to and interact with. I have a couple of other jobs. One of them is to make sure that all of these performers, all of these characters have things to do and things to choose. I love giving the players things to choose, because whatever they choose is going to shape the story, because, as Whitney said, all of this is improvised. Another thing I do is I occasionally ask the players to roll some dice. This is a game that is powered by the Apocalypse. That's the system we use, which means 6-sided dice are the name of the game. Those are mighty fine dice, everybody. And what I ask for from time to time, if the outcome of something is uncertain, I ask everyone to roll 2 6-sided dice. On a 10 or higher, what they want to happen happens. On a 7 to 9, a little of what they want happens, or they have to make a tough choice. And on a 6 or less, what they want does not happen. Something else happens instead. And yeah, it's scary. However, no matter how the dice shake out, something happens in the world, something changes in the world. So that's very fun. The final job I have before we get started is I get to provide a summary, a general assessment of where we are right now. So for folks watching live on Twitch, if this is your first time watching, welcome. I'm about to tell you everything you need to know. And for those of you coming back, welcome. This is a bit of a refresher. You've already met the characters, so what you need to know is they are members of an organization called the Knights of Prospect, a benevolent order of knights that protects the Riverlands from all sorts of dangers. The Riverlands are just south of a large, wealthy kingdom called the Catavian Regency. And there are a lot of interesting, powerful things in the Riverlands, because the Riverlands is very ancient and full of all kinds of dangerous stuff. And also beautiful towns and large cities. So that's all you need to know, is that these knights are famous. They work hard. They've been on many adventures, and the Catavian Regency is their neighbor, and that will come up. So with that, let's get started. All right, everybody. You are all in the Duchy of Amboise, in a place called the Chateau Rond, or Round Castle. Chauncey, that is your castle. That is the castle that you have. Now, through a series of events, you are now the Duke of Amboise. which means that you have this castle, and it sits in the city of Amboise, which is the seat of your lands. And you're currently hearing petitions from your subjects, with your advisors, 3 fellow Knights of Prospect, Winnie, Raz, and Hazel. So, yeah, this is kind of a new thing for you, Chauncey. From time to time, you have to leave the Riverlands to go up to Amboise and sort things out and answer questions and sign a bunch of forms, not too many of which you understand because they're written in a language you don't speak and are strange, and you have to settle things that are complex and convoluted. So you've been kind of thrust into noble leadership, and on this most recent trip, you've taken Winnie, Raz, and Hazel to help you. So the 4 of you are currently sitting in the throne room of the Round Castle, which is, this big open room. But the rest of it, I will leave up to you to describe. So each of you, give me a sentence about Chateau Rond or its throne room.
Well, I, when I arrived at, Round Castle, and then a lot of the furniture didn't match that theme as well as I would have liked, so I replaced all of the chairs with very round cushions. The throne I'm on is I've shaven off all of the pointy bits. A lot of round furniture, very cozy now, I think.
The throne room. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that there's something sleepy about it. Just like you walk in and you almost lose all motivation to do anything else but lay on the floor.
Yeah, kind of in that vein. There's a lot of sleepy foods in the throne room. Things that you eat when you're about to take a nap. Like cheese and grapes.
There's like sort of ambient noise that sounds like when you put like a conch shell up to your ear. It's very relaxing.
Yeah, it's, Amboise is landlocked. It's not on the coast of anything, but there's that weird ambient kind of sea noise kind of floating through. Everything about Round Castle is relaxing, made even more so by Chauncey's redecoration. And normally that's lovely, but when it comes to hearing petitions from your subjects, it's hard to stay awake. It is, because you're in cushions, you're eating cheeses, and a lot of the petitions kind of sound the same. In point of fact, you're all listening to one right now. There's this one farmer named Claude and another farmer named Jacques, and they're arguing about dividing their farms up. Like there's a line, like this line of stones that divides their land. And Claus says that his family claim has some of Jacques' land, but Jacques says Claude's family sold Jacques some of his land, but there was no record of it. And they're literally arguing over like a 10-foot wide strip of land. And they're doing it in a very respectful way, but they keep asking kind of what they should do. So, Jacques kind of ends it by saying, well, Duke, I shook hands and it should be my land. What is a handshake if not a signifier of things? So I humbly await your judgment. And this is like the 20th thing today. So you're all relaxing in cushions and debating what to do.
What if
you can't own land?
Hazel, you're right, but everyone here seems to put a lot of value on that. We can't tell everyone that no one owns the land, so none of their problems matter.
Why don't
The
you
first
ask-
5 we tried, they were pissed about it.
Why don't you ask the land?
There's one suggestion.
I was gonna say, and this is kind of similar to Hazel's suggestion. What if you asked each of them to plant a crop on this land, and whoever yields the best fruit owns the property?
Okay, so far we're
Which is the land telling you who owns it.
That is
Kind of.
true.
if that feels like a more yes, it feels like a kind of competitive way. I feel like the problem is that they're kind of fighting against each other right now. I don't know. So we have like a third party moderator who is the land. The land picking favorites by planting things.
Perhaps you can take into account how they feel about the land. Maybe you can have them give a speech about how the land has changed their lives. Maybe what they would do with the land. Maybe why that land is important to them. Maybe a rival speech, like a debate style. And then we can judge.
Just like with all of my decisions, I will take all of your advice into account, mix it up, and come up with a great solution. So what we'll do is have both of you. You're gonna plant some stuff, and you're gonna try to convince the land that how you planted stuff is the best way, and whatever the land says was planted the best, well then you'll get the 5 feet of land you want. Do you guys like cheese?
They look at each other and violently disagree. But Claude likes cheese. Jacques refuses to eat cheese with Claude.
This finally looks like a problem I can easily solve. You, the one who likes cheese, you can have cheese. You, the one who doesn't, you can't.
Thank you, monsieur. Yes, thank you, monsieur. Thank you, Duke. Thank you. And the line just keeps going. That was one. Your Chauncey, you have like a seneschal with you, kind of a communicator slash somewhere between like a butler and an assistant, like a lieutenant governor. Like, her name is Splenda, and after every judgment, she makes a note of it and always turns to you and says, your munificence shines through as always, Duke.
Thank you as always, Splenda. Your positivity is always welcome here in the round, comfy court. Splenda.
Yes, Duke.
Is there like a still Dukely responsible way to like hurry this I don't know. Can we maybe, if I could hear all the problems at once and then offer one solution to everything, or
Chauncey, roll 2d6 plus charisma.
Okay.
Yeah, you're essentially trying to figure out something that you can do using your authority and charismatic nature to kind of speed things up.
Well, 5.
Splenda, your seneschal, has one suggestion, which is, hold on just one moment. And she produces from kind of this set of like ancient books on a shelf, like this tome that's like hundreds of years old that talks about, the duties of the Duke when it comes to serving the subjects, and hearing petitions, and she's like leafing through that. There's one thing. If you are to take up a quest, then you do not need to hear any petitions because you're busy questing. So I suppose if we find someone whose petition could be turned into a quest, we can bring them to the front of the line, and you could hear them, and then you could decide, I must go right now because the dukedom is in danger. That's the best I have from the book.
Splenda, this is an awesome idea. I do need to take a look at that book. Books have tried to kill me before.
Ah, of course, yes. Books can be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what you say, she agrees.
Splenda?
Yes.
This statement I'm saying is untrue.
Ah, quite right, Duke. Life is a rich tapestry with many shades of gray.
Shoot. I grabbed the book.
Yeah, you got the book.
Book! Are you evil?
Your guess is no. The book doesn't answer.
Was that
Which is
a spell,
a good
or is
sign.
or is he just yelling at a book? Anybody know?
I think he was just yelling.
All right.
Well, I have dukely decided that this book is not evil. Splenda, catch?
Ah, no, yes. Exceptionally thrown, Duke.
Thanks.
Is anybody else nervous that now Chauncey has a human just agreeing with him on everything? He already was pretty confident.
Hazel, Chauncey has been blessed by an angel in the skies above, and I trust any decision he makes wholeheartedly and completely.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Splenda, am I the best duke that has ever duked?
Well, Duke, you are one of a long line of Dukes of Amboise, but in my lifetime, you are the finest Duke.
But would you say he's like the dukiest Duke?
How many dukies
Yes, I would.
does he duke?
Well, that is one of life's great mysteries, I suppose. Though I believe that if Chauncey lined himself up against many other dukes, he would duke the most dukes.
Splenda, I want to be remembered as being a good duke. I want people to remember me as the dukiest.
Well, sir, you're already the dukiest in my eye.
Thank you, Splenda.
The next pair of petitioners come in. It's a pair of siblings in their late teens. They look nearly, you don't think they're identical, but they look very similar. And Splenda looks at the list. The siblings Babineau, owners of a shop in Amboise. What is let me ask you all, what is their shop? One forbidden thing, it's not a bakery. There's so many bakeries. So this is a non-bakery. What do the Babineaus sell in their shop?
Curious plants. Yeah.
That is 100% perfect. What's the name of the shop?
Earthen Oddities.
I love it. So the Babineaus are, Splenda kind of leans in, and as she does, kind of gives you like a 2-sentence introduction on them, and she kind of gathers you all around. And the Babineaus are a pair of they're like 19, and they have like their parents are farmers, but their parents bought this small building in the city of Amboise and told the Babineaus to run like a a floral shop, like a shop selling all various plants and magical plants and stuff like that. And so that's the story. They're apparently upstanding, good, honest workers, and their shop apparently does pretty well. What's the name of the older teen?
Willard.
Willard, got it. So Willard Babineau walks up to all of you. Hello, Duke. Hello, advisors. My name is Willard Babineau, owner of Earth and Oddities, along with my sister. We think it's haunted.
What's that, Babs?
Our shop, Earth and Oddities. We think it is haunted.
By what?
Haunted by what?
Well, we don't know. But whenever we leave we live above it. And so sometimes when we go upstairs and go back downstairs, things in the shop are rearranged, or sometimes things are missing.
Have you heard, like, creepy stuff?
Well, we think there's a scratching in the wall, but not like the scratching of a rodent. It sounds bigger.
Do you own a cat?
Good question.
Yes, and the cat is freaked out all the time.
What about a capybara?
Do we own one, or should we buy one?
Well, no, they're rodents, but they're very big.
Oh.
Love to scratch.
Well, that may be true, but some of the plants that were taken were very large, and even a large rodent probably couldn't drag it. They're in big clay pots, and some of the plants can defend themselves.
Oh, yeah. Capybaras are not dexterous. Never mind.
Have they left any sort of clue as to where these plants might have been taken to?
Willard turns to his sister, what is his sister's name?
Wallow.
Wallow, who is slightly younger, about 10 months younger, says, see, that's the weird part, is about 3 days ago, 2 matching plants, 2 singing lilies, were removed, and one was gone, and the other was placed in the middle of our living room on the 2nd floor. Right in the middle of the room.
Was that a good place for it? Like, did it look good there? Or was that, like, obstructive? Did someone trip on it?
Wallow and Willard kind of look at each other, and Wallow says, well, I think it looks fine there, but we don't all agree. And also, we need to sell it. It's a product. It's not something for us.
What special properties do these singing lilies have?
Well, when you put them very close to each other, the term would be they reverberate. They begin kind of singing the same song, and it gets louder and louder, and eventually it achieves a pretty high pitch, and then eventually it stops.
I take a quick look at how many people are left in line.
You can see 12 or so stretching out, but Splenda says the number is 31.
Sounds like a quest to me.
Splenda, you said as long as I take a quest on, then it's just kind of cool with everyone that I'm gone?
Yes, a duke bravely taking on a quest for the betterment of Amboise is a perfectly good reason, and the only reason, that is allowed to skip the day of petitions. The people after them have a stack of paper.
Yep, I stand up on top of my chair, some of my staff to my hands, wave it in the air. Oh, wonderful people! I thought you were all gone. Oh, there's so many left. I would love to stay here and help every single one of you. like you with the paper, and you two who soon to be fighting over whose marble is whose, and you who seem to just be in a fight with your parrot. I would love to help all of you. Unfortunately, these brave siblings in front of me, they are stricken, with ghastly, awful beings, the awful horrors that await them I cannot imagine, and thusly your wise and powerful Duke must venture forward to quest and save them. I pause to wait for them to clap.
2d6 plus charisma, but does anyone want to help him, and if so, how?
I'm gonna help him by asking the wind to blow his hair back and make him look more majestic.
Sure, I'll give you a +1 to that roll, Chauncey.
Great, then that's 11. You may clap now.
Yeah! Wow, these people are in the mood to celebrate a duke. Like the person with the paper screams, "It's okay! This land variance request can wait!" and all of you kind of get up from your various cushions and chairs and walk through a teeming, applauding crowd, slapping you on the shoulder and thanking you. There's like a 10-year-old, tears in his eyes. "Thank you, Duke." And eventually you kind of walk out.
Man, the people here love dukes.
I want to stop right in front of the 10-year-old. Listen to me. You can do anything you set your mind to. By the time probably tomorrow, you could be the Duke of anywhere you wanted. My advice, just pick up any magical thing you see. I pat him on the head and walk away.
And there is much applause.
Oh, but no books.
Yeah, and you walk through the round castle, and the Babinos are with you, and you eventually kind of go out like a sally port to kind of beat the crowds. And yeah, now the 6 of you are standing on like this well-maintained garden that is also yours. And Willard Babineau says, "Duke, that's incredibly kind. The one added thing I should let you know is about 3 nights ago, right after the Singing Lilies situation, we left the shop and the house overnight to visit our parents' farm, and when we got back, a number of the plants were, they all looked scared. And so we did not go back, and we just came here and have been waiting in line to petition since then."
A bunch of scaredy plants at the farm?
At the shop.
At the shop.
And we don't want to go back. Wallow talks. It's like, those plants are smart. They wouldn't be scared for no reason.
Let me ask a question. How do you tell the difference between a scared plant and a confident plant?
Well, how do you tell the difference between a scared human and a regular human?
If their pupils are dilated, they're scared.
There's other reasons.
Nope, that's the only reason.
Raz always goes straight for the eyes.
It's like that's
I don't know.
like anytime someone could walk up to you and say, "Raz, I'm so scared," and you look at him, you're like, "No, you're not. You're fine."
Raz has also had limited success in romantic relationships because of a very base misunderstanding.
Right.
Very bad at flirting.
If it's a bright room, I can't tell what's happening.
Everyone in here is terrified or super confident.
Yes.
This is the best day of all these people's lives. So Willard and Wallow, as they kind of walk with you, explain that there are that various plants have various reactions. Like, that's the thing. You've all traveled great distances, and you've been in forests, you've been in all various ecosystems, and most plants just kind of look like plants. But given the specific curious plants they sell, some of them can feel fear, which is unnerving. And all the plants that could feel fear felt fear.
Well, I have a few new tricks up my sleeve, so I'd like to go see the plants.
Sure. So you're all led to Earthen Oddities, and the front door is locked, and the Babinos open it, and they say, "If it's all right with you, Duke and advisors, we will wait outside."
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
if you're chicken.
Well, I'm.
That's not an insult.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just got called out in front of the Duke.
Well, we are so thankful for your helping. And Wallow kind of like yanks Willard back and gives him a talking to, and they unlock the door, and you open it up, and well, this is weird. So everything in here is covered in a thin layer of dust, which should not be, considering the fact that this is an active shop that just people haven't been in it for 2 days. Like, the level of dust over everything is as if you're walking through some ancient crypt. It like leaves footprints when you walk through it. It's like, hey, it's in like your nose, and the plants here are, well, based on the size of this place and the fact that there are tables and stuff, it looks like half the plants are missing.
I'm going to ask for divine guidance while we're here. See if I can contact Enteresh and get a sense for where the haunting is coming from, if it's in the house or not.
Sure. So yeah, you kind of reach up to the sky. What do you ask?
I say, Enteresh, from where is the haunting coming?
Enteresh hears you and responds. And given your feelings about like Chauncey and how he is now an emissary of an angel, and what does that mean, and what does that mean about your gifts, you've been increasingly nervous that somehow Enteresh is ignoring you. Enteresh is not ignoring you right now. Enteresh, in point of fact, gives you a very clear answer, and it's that same way that Enteresh always communicates with you, which is a thought of yours in your own voice, but you didn't think it. And you realize, Raz, that this is not a haunting. This is not like a ghost or a specter. There is something here from another plane.
Uh-oh.
Well, I want to talk to one of the plants. So
Gotcha.
I'm looking for the one that's like the least scared.
Yeah. All
And
right.
I see a tough little succulent in the middle of the room.
Okay, chat. I need a name. Hello, chat. By the way, thank you as always for tuning in. I need a name of a tough little succulent. A succulent that, may not be the biggest succulent, but yeah, the little succulent that could. Succulent that looks in the mirror and says, "Damn it, today's my day." So, chat, you give me that name, and we will go from there. Hazel, give me 2d6 plus Constitution. Karen the succulent. Karen the succulent.
Tough succulent.
Thank you, Tina Talon. Karen the succulent. 2d6 plus Constitution, just to see how tough of a succulent this is.
Oh, 5.
Okay. So Karen the succulent is in like a little pot. It's like very rounded, with like little pointy, like thick succulent leaves. It looks almost like a little pineapple. Karen looks at you.
Hey there, little chicken boo. Why is everyone scared?
Well, they're scared because they're not brave.
You seem brave.
I am brave.
Yeah. Well, why would everyone need to be brave right now?
Because of the thing that keeps coming in here.
A thing? What thing?
I don't really know. I haven't seen that many things.
All right. Well, we're here. We're the Knights of Prospect. We're trying to help. So if you can describe it, that would be great.
I don't know who the Knights of Prospect are, but you sound very confident when you say it. So is that a good thing?
I think it's good.
Oh. Well. Oh, I don't know what people call different things, but it looks like not a person and not a plant, but it's alive, but it's made of parts of other things that are alive. Does that clear things up?
Was it furry?
No, but I think it should have been.
It should have been furry.
I don't know what it's called, but some things are furry.
Yeah.
And this one kind of should have been, right? But it wasn't.
Like, did it look like me?
No. Well, sorta.
Did it look like him? And I point at Chauncey.
No. But
What about
sorta.
her?
Ah!
Oh, come on, sweetheart. You've been so good up to now.
Sorry.
Chauncey, you're scaring her.
Should I do a better dance?
Yeah, Chauncey, when you did that, you saw the... Now, you cannot communicate with succulents, but when you did that, the succulent in its little pot just kind of rattled around a little bit. To Hazel, that was a blood-curdling scream.
Oh.
Yeah. How about her? She's an elf. Did it look like her?
No. This Karen the talking succulent is not able to, like, Karen the talking succulent knows that something wrong has happened. Knows that something weird was in here. Knows that it should be furry but wasn't. But it doesn't look like any of you, but it kind of does.
All right. Well, where are the rest of the plants that are supposed to be in here? Did the thing take it?
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it laughed, and sometimes it just moved them around.
Laughed and moved them around.
But sometimes it took them.
And it's mighty dusty in here. How long has it been since Wallow and Willard have been here?
The sun's come up 3 times.
3 times. All right. Well, thank you, my brave little friend.
It was nice to meet you. You're very tall.
Oh, why, thank you. She thinks I'm tall.
That's nice. Good for you.
I wonder, so I have bardic lore, I have expertise in magics and spells, and when I suspect a magical effect, I can ask about it. I can dig into my wealth of songs and magical knowledge to see if I can... Has any song been sung about this kind of effect before?
Well...
It's familiar?
Yes, you think. I'll put it to you this way. Based on kind of what you're hearing, you kind of form this like, okay, it's a thing. It's not like a human or a halfling or an elf or a dwarf. You think it may be some kind of monster. Raz seems to think it comes from another plane. So it's like It's like you have this like big block of stone and you're like chipping away all of this unknown to get to what it really is. And so it's like you have all of this, and the fact is you think it's taking stuff, but it's not taking all of it. So it's not like it's like a thief breaking in, but it is also still taking stuff. So it's a weird, non-human, extraplanar thief that seems to be having a really good time.
Is there some sort of trickster from other planes?
So it exists, whatever this is. So let's have you roll 2d6 plus intelligence. And I'll give you a +1 because you've gotten all this other information.
Dropped my die. All right. 8.
Okay. Partial success. So you know what it is, but it's kind of bad, and you only remember about a verse of the song, which you will sing. It's a thing called an ethereal filcher, which is a weird, scary, trickstery thing that takes stuff. You're pretty sure that's what this is.
Huh. So there's a song. I turn to the group and there's a song that I'm remembering, and it feels so similar.
Of note, whatever you sing about this thing is true.
So there's only a verse that I remember, but it goes something like, ethereal, ethereal, ethereal filter. He will trick you when you meet her. And when you leave your stuff alone, he will enter in your home and steal and move and eat and consume until he consumes it all. That's all I can remember. But it's gaining something from this.
Yeah, that got kind of scary at the end with the part where you said it consumes us all. That part was like, I don't know. Yeah, it seemed fun at first.
Lighthearted until that last bit. Yeah, so this thing is playful and a trickster, but eventually it kind of moves on and just starts eating things. And somehow that's where its power comes from. So the thing that you kind of realize is because it's extraplanar, you're pretty sure that the power it keeps gaining is the ability to keep coming back here for like longer amounts of time. The more it eats, the more its connection to this place is. And eventually, after it eats it all, it will be able to just walk into our world and stay there.
Would we know whether or not this is from the Sealy Court? Can we spout lore about that?
They were pretty sneaky Pete's.
Well, Raz, here's how it's going to work. I don't know. Let's have your dice tell us. 2d6 flat. 6 or less, it is from the Sealy Court and is very bad. 10 or higher, it's not from the Sealy Court. 7 to 9, it is, but you don't know what it's about.
Okay. And if it's coming from the Sealy Court, that means it's escaping, which means something is happening to the guards, which is my folks.
Yeah, this is a big roll.
Oof. 4. Yikes.
Oh boy.
Okay.
No pluses on that? No.
No. Yes, Raz. You you close your like once you start hearing the song, you kind of stretch out and kind of reach Enteresh and feel very connected to this plane and Enteresh's strength. Yeah, you're pretty sure this thing has punched a hole from the Sealy Court into this world. And it did that because it wants to be here. And it wants to cause harm. The thing is, though, it didn't go through that gate. It punched a hole. Which means that this thing is some kind of monster of the fairy folk.
And it went rogue?
Yeah, which means at minimum it's stronger than your parents. It was strong enough to somehow get past. Not that it went through its gate, but it like the gate that you can go visit your parents on the Sealy Court. But it kind of punched a hole through the wall of reality into here. How it did that, you don't know, but it must have slipped past your parents, like because they're technically guarding the whole wall.
And it really loves plants.
Yeah.
And dust.
I am gonna suggest something, and I'm brave enough to admit I'm scared. I'm gonna go undercover. I can disguise myself as an exotic plant and wait for it to come and steal me.
And as soon as it comes, we'll jump out and put it in a burlap sack.
Yeah.
And we'll tie it up. And then we'll figure out what to do with it.
Oh, this is so much better than talking to people about paper.
We'll have a lot of paperwork at the end of this, I'm sure.
Almost certainly. There is definitely some insurance claims that need to be filed after this. Okay, Hazel, you're going undercover. Let's have you roll 2d6 plus wisdom to shapeshift. You're going to get, one hold. You're going to get hold. For every hold you get, you can describe something. You can give your plant that you will become another descriptor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Plus my wisdom?
Mm-hmm.
6.
Okay, so you can give this plant you're turning into 2 words to describe it.
2 words? Leafy and gooey.
Yeah. So Hazel, is this shape shifting a lot like when you turn into? Oh, I'll give it to you this way. Describe what it looks like when you turn into this leafy, gooey plant.
Sure. This is a new power I've been working on. So, it's the first time we've seen it. So, instead of the earth swelling up around me, I get sort of wrapped up in like what looks like a big shrub. And then it whooshes back down. And I'm now a very large, leafy, gooey plant.
You are now a very large, leafy, gooey plant. And, this place is called Earth and Oddities, and you fit in. Like, you are a unique plant. Does this plant have tiny horns?
Oh, yeah, it has tiny little gold horns.
Yep. So Hazel is now a plant. And, all of you just kind of hide and get into position. Whatever preparations you've made, when it's time for this thing to happen, we can say they've already been made. Like, anything that you could have reasonably done, you have done. And so, you tell the Babinos what's going on, and they stay at the castle. And, you're all hiding and stuff. And, yeah, you're, Hazel, a leafy, gooey plant. And Karen looks at you. And wait a minute. You're a plant?
I am right now. I'm undercover. Play it cool, Karen.
Okay. It's coming.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. You hear a scratching. And yeah, that's not a capybara. Because the scratching is very uneven, and it's not really even scratching. It's more like a slapping. Like a bunch of people like running barefoot across a room. But it's coming from like the wall. And not the wall, but like a disc of air begins to bend. As if there was a painting of this room and someone was trying to put their hand through the painting from the back. And so like the air kind of bubbles out like a boil and bursts. And Raz, you see through it as it bursts. And you see your parents, Raz, on the other side. Your mother and father are each holding these weird golden nets. Like giant, like as if they were trying to catch butterflies. And they look at each other, and they look through, and for a second they see you and they point. And then the blister kind of... it got past him again. Yeah, it means this thing's connection to the world is getting stronger. But I feel like I'm burying the lead. Hazel, you see what this thing is. It looks like a dog made of hands and eyes. And it is galloping through the room. It kind of runs up the wall just as easily as if it was running along the ground, and then runs up onto the ceiling, and then drops down on top of you, and is trying to pick you up. And it's like, it sounds kind of like a dog, like it's panting, and it's like trying to lift the pot you're in, and it's having trouble. You're very gooey.
I'm super gooey.
It's incredibly gooey. It doesn't know what to do. Okay, time to spring the trap. What do you all do?
I yell now, and
Now.
whoever's holding the burlap sack jump up over there.
Yeah, that's the plan. That's a good plan. You're the spotter, and someone else is the bag person.
Yep.
So
Yep.
who's got the burlap sack?
I was underneath the counter, hidden in the cabinets. I opened them. One hand, burlap sack. The other hand, my angel staff. I tried to jump out and poke just like a hole right in their face to open up a little bit of blinding light into their face. I'd also like it to be just like opening up just a little, and the part of the plane I want to open to is the rec center of all the little angels where they're like playing foosball and stuff.
Nice. Yeah. No, that's a good wholesome light.
Yeah.
So short. Let's have you roll blinding light. 2d6 plus Constitution to hit this giant scary thing with holy light.
Ten.
Oh, all right. That's pretty good. Remarkably, this works because this is like very specialized use of your power. So you like kick open the door and the counter. You're out there. You kind of jam your holy staff into its face, but its face is really just all hands and eyes. And boom, this tiny little burst of blinding light, and from it there's like the laughter of cherubs and all of this. A couple of things happen. One, you damage this thing, which is great. So why don't you go ahead and roll 1d8 damage. I think that's what blinding light does. I'm checking. Yeah, 1d8 damage.
6.
Wow, pretty good. So yeah, that's the thing. When you're dealing with a monster that's just a big pile of hands and eyes, hitting it with light's really effective. About half of it goes blind for a moment, and it kind of rolls over and hides behind you, Hazel the plant, and it's starting to drag you back towards towards where it was, like that weird bubble that kind of burst. It's trying to go back there. But yeah, it's kind of tumbling over itself. Okay, so it's, and you're out there with the bag, but this thing is moving, so what happens next?
I'm going to cast a hold spell just to try to keep it in place.
Got it. Sounds pretty good. All right. Hold person. 2d6 plus wisdom.
10. Yeah, baby.
Wow. Good rolls this week. Yeah, so this thing kind of looks at you and you start standing up and like chanting and casting. And this thing kind of leaps in the air at you. Boo, and it just freezes and kind of is like frozen standing up, and it's like shaking and trying to get out of it.
This moment, I would like to use Metal Hurlant to do a piercing sound, but like, that kind of register that only dogs can hear? Like, that is the sound that I make with my mouth. And I intend to deafen and damage while held in midair. While he's held in midair.
All right, 2d6 plus Constitution. I will give you a +1 on top of that because this thing is, well, you know exactly where to put this wave of sound.
11. I open my mouth and no one hears anything but the dog.
Do your damage.
Oh gosh, what is it?
1d10.
1d10. Haha, haha. I didn't have a d10 out. Unprepared. Oh. 3.
Outside, there is a very well-to-do merchant, and she is walking a dog, and there is a gentleman suitor walking with her. What's the name of this dog?
Scruff.
Rumbum.
Rumbum. Yep.
Rumbum Scruff. And this is going pretty well for this merchant. This suitor is respectful. He makes money, but not as much as she does, and he's laughing at her jokes, and she's thinking this is going great. And all of a sudden, Rumbum Scruff leaps 5 feet in the air, kicks the gentleman suitor in the face, breaks the leash, and sprints barking through the streets, as do a dozen other dogs. In here, though, this ethereal filcher is, well, some of its hands have fallen off, and it is now trying, not even fall off, they're kind of falling off and kind of wafting away into, like, blue mist. But yeah, who's going next? Raz, you could probably hold this thing for like one more turn. Because this thing's like ethereal, it's now actively trying to like punch a hole back to the Sealy Court. And you realize you probably don't want it to get back there. So who wants to go next?
I'm gonna work my way back up on my pot and just really slap him with one of my gooey leaves.
Yeah, gooey leaf slap. I love it. Let's go hack and slash 2d6 plus strength. I will give you a +1 because this thing is still held. So, all right, let's see what happens.
Get him, Hazel!
Be nice. Oh boy, 7.
All right. Well, do your damage. I'm gonna say a gooey leaf slap will do d6 damage.
All right. 2.
Remarkably, though, that is enough. Had 1 hit point left. Ethereal filters, terrifying, but not as burly as knights. And so you kind of hop up into your pot and kind of jump over in the pot, and you just wind up and just slap the ethereal filter. And yeah, at that point, it kind of breaks apart into like blue mist. And the blue mist kind of floats in the air, and as it settles into dust. That's where all the dust came from. This thing kept punching its way through, and yeah, this thing is gone.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and turn back into a halfling.
Hazel, that was amazing.
That was what a punch. Wow, what a slap.
That felt good.
I want to take a quick peek. I'm going to look around to see if there's any remnants of it left for me.
Yeah, you're pretty sure all of this dust is like what happens when the ethereal filter like stays in this plane too long. Like it just kind of keeps almost shedding. So technically all the dust in here is remnants of some fey beast.
And, I gather some up.
Yeah, you
should look at this.
Jar.
Sure, we understand what we're dealing with here with the jumping between planes, and learn a little bit about it, maybe.
Yeah, this is ever since you became an emissary, and frankly, ever since Raz's trip to the fairy court himself, you're all becoming much more aware of the fact that there are other planes, and sometimes the walls between them are fairly thin.
I'm taking out my sketchbook and doing a sketch before I forget.
Oh yeah, this is top of mind.
I'm gonna go to the wall where I saw my folks and just put my hand up against it for a second.
Raz, you're pretty sure they're doing the same. The Babinos move back in. There is a cleanup to be done. Technically, this took several hours because you waited until the evening, but the desire to go back to the castle isn't quite there. So you all kind of pitch in with the cleanup, and you sweep out the dust that Chauncey you didn't bottle for later study. You go upstairs into the residence, and this thing was up here too, and it was weird. It took all of the utensils out of the kitchen and put them in the middle of the room in these weird spiral shapes, which are just unsettling. Like the beds in the various rooms were stacked up, but yeah, it's not every day that a couple of small business owners have the Duke of their county help clean their house, along with 3 Knights of Prospect. But that is exactly what happens. And the next morning, Earth and Oddities opens for business. Willard and Wallow look at all of you. Thank you all for that. We got into a disagreement about whether or not the Duke believed that there was a haunting. So I'm glad... This is Wallow. I'm glad I lost that argument.
Well, there you go. That's the kind of Duke I am. Any haunting, any outing, any cleaning, or hobbies you need help with, or
Paperwork.
Well,
technically paperwork.
I pick up Karen and I just say, be sure to take care of this plucky little succulent, because she saved the day.
Oh, Well, that's great. And Willard and Wallow kind of share a look and look at you and look at Karen the succulent and nod. Yeah, and in the light of day, you all open the door and walk outside into a thankful city where, unfortunately, that guy with the huge stack of paper is waiting outside. Duke, this is a very important land variance. I would like to build a fence.
Build a fence! Or don't? Do you ever sleep?
No! And we'll end it right there. The joys of local government.
Was indeed.
Yeah, quick little adventure, everybody.
Hmm.
Definitely a little
Super
shop
creepy.
of horrors vibe. Yeah,
Super creepy. I as I heard that the monster, it brought to mind Mr. Nose, the large nose beast dog that I summoned, and I was like, is this his cousin? Yeah.
Yeah. Now that like the fairy court is in play, like the odds of occasionally encountering weird stuff that have snuck past Raz's parents into the real world has increased somewhat. So Chauncey, you're not the only game in town when it comes to summoning weird and terrifying things anymore.
Great.
I had all of the creative freedom to not make it creepy. And I think I'm realizing I don't know that I have the ability to end a song not on a somewhat unsettling note. I think that's just all that I craft. It's
just like you could weave this like beautiful aria of like
it could have been a funny little trickster
like a funny
dude.
little like love and truth, but at the end it's always like, and then a hand emerged from the ocean. It's like
Until
it
you all
consumes
die.
the earth. It's basically like I think Winnie is like big into like Grimm's fairy tales, right? Like there's always a lesson to be learned, but it's like not really suitable for children.
Yeah, it's lesson, like you have to be a certain age to really appreciate the lesson and also to not be freaked out by the lesson, but there are lessons in all of this. But speaking of lessons, thank you everybody for tuning in and learning some valuable lessons about how to face dogs made of hands when they try to attack your plants.
Yeah, and don't mess with leafy, gooey plants. They'll knock you right out.
That's a serious thing. So give them a wide berth and let that leafy, gooey plant just live its life. Other things you can learn from this podcast / live play. We are here every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on 2MB Studios. We love to be here. And also other people love to be here too. There are shows 7 days a week, all 7 days. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't. These shows are super funny and touching and wonderful. We have great improv that is accompanied by live sketching and doodling. We have an awesome wrestling league full of all kinds of crazy wild lore. We've got game shows and comedy shows and talk shows and all sorts of amazing stuff. Everything here I strongly recommend because I watch it all and can do that. Also, if you like Knights of Prospect, be sure to follow our YouTube channel. Just look up Knights of Prospect on YouTube or follow us wherever you get your podcasts. We have on YouTube, all of our stuff gets up right afterwards. The podcast is, I think, where this is episode 49. I think they're up to about 35. So if you want to listen again, they are so much more delightful the second time around. So thank you all so much for adventuring with us. We have been and will continue to be the Knights of Prospect. Oh, programming note for next week. Quarantine Action Wrestling, the aforementioned wrestling league on 2MB Studios is doing a pay-per-view. It's still free, but we're calling it a pay-per-view. Next Saturday, the 29th at 8 p.m. So we're on an hour early. We will do a quick, exciting adventure right at 7 p.m. So show up an hour early and stick around for Quarantine Action Wrestling. Sounds like a heck of a great night to me. All right, everybody. We'll see you then. Good night.
Bye.